Hi, tonight on See You at USC, we're going to be speaking with guest David Freeman, author of Winning Our Energy Independence. It's all coming up right now on See You at USC, the best college talk show on television. Hi, welcome to See You at USC. I am your host, Lasana Smith, and tonight we are here with guest David Freeman, author of Winning Our Energy Independence. Hi, David. So glad to have you here today.
It's great to be here.
Thank you, and thank you for tuning in. Guys, I'm just so excited to have you here on our couch today. It's an honor to have you because you have been working in the energy field for the past 40 years. You have been with Carter and Nixon and President Johnson, and you've worked with the Tennessee Valley Authority. You headed that. I know right now you're with the Los Angeles Board of Harbor Commissioners. You have done so much. Where did this passion for energy and energy conservation and efficiency come from?
Well, I was pretty lucky. I got into this ball game before people were interested in it, and I got a $4 million education from the Ford Foundation back when $4 million was a lot of money. We did the first big study that showed that saving energy could be a big deal. Back in those days, they thought that the more energy we used, the more prosperous we were. And the idea that we ought to use it efficiently had never occurred to anybody. And we put that idea on the map. And then I just was lucky enough to come to the attention of President Carter, and he named me to head the Tennessee Valley Authority. And I was able to put some of my ideas that I developed in the study for the Ford Foundation into practice. And I've been at it ever since. But the interesting thing, while we've made a lot of progress in 30 years, the problems have become much worse. We didn't know about global warming in those days, and the dependence on imported oil was not that large. It was 10%. Now, the people that hate us are taking all of our money for oil, and we have a recession, and they're buying up America and influencing our foreign policy. And we're over there with men and women being killed in wars, primarily because we're dependent on oil from the Middle East. And then there's nuclear power that had so much promise that I wanted to be in that program as a kid. It was advertised as too cheap to meter, and it's turned out to be too expensive and too dangerous to use. And so we got all these three poisons that's our energy supply, and the sun keeps shining down every day saying, please, Americans and people of the world, recognize that I am your source of energy. If I turn you off, you're dead.
Now, you were talking about the nuclear power program that when you were with the Tennessee Valley Authority, that was basically what they did. How did you go from dealing with nuclear energy to now talking about efficiency and conservation of energy?
I learned about nuclear power the hard way through experience. I'm not theoretical. I mean, I was in charge of an agency that had all these reactors under construction, and it became more and more expensive when we didn't know what to do with the waste. And with my vote, I shut 8 reactors, 1,000 megawatts each, shut them down in midstream in the home of the atomic bomb. Frankly, I'm very proud of that. If I hadn't, the Tennessee Valley Authority would have gone broke because those things were just costing too much. And what we've learned is that we don't know what to do with the waste. But the beauty is that we have learned how to harness the sun. And Adam Smith and private enterprise didn't do it. It was the space program where we needed electricity for the spacecraft, and we learned how to turn the sun into electricity with photovoltaic cells. So we've got the technology to move to renewable energy. The problem is that we don't have the willpower and the money is in the hands of the oil people and the coal people and the nuclear people, and they run ads on TV, and there's only your program to help educate people.
Now, you were one of the creators of the Environmental Protection Agency, which is a very big deal.
Well, I was very proud to be the present at the creation, and I was a staff person that helped sell the idea of an independent environmental protection agency, and I'm very happy to have been part of that. But frankly, the EPA has moved from a watchdog to a puppy dog, and they're not doing the job of enforcement that's needed. I mean, let's just get real. Los Angeles, we passed the Clean Air Act in the early 70s. It had a 1980 deadline. That was postponed. 1990, that's postponed. 2000, postponed. It's 2008, and we still have unhealthy air in Los Angeles. So we've got to start focusing on what's causing it. Well, it's the burning of oil in the city streets and the burning of fuel in the refineries and the factories and all. So we have to switch to using the sun in the form of electricity or hydrogen, because you can take electricity, and you know your chemistry. You take water and you give it a charge of electricity, and you separate the hydrogen from the oxygen. And so solar power can be stored in the form of hydrogen, and that can run everything. But the electricity can run the car. You know, General Motors killed the electric car, but it's coming back in the form of the plug-in hybrid. We've got the technologies, but until we outlaw the poisons, we're not going to get there. And that means a decision of monumental proportions by the President of the United States and every citizen in the United States, that we are no longer going to do anything new with coal or oil or nuclear. We're going to go all out for renewable, used efficiently. We can do it. It will be the second industrial revolution. It could be a cause that would attract the youth of this country and put us in a leadership role. How can we lecture to China not to use coal and Iran not to build nuclear plants if we're doing it?
Now, in your book, you do talk about these three poisons. Can you explain to us what the three poisons are?
Yeah, they're oil, coal, and nuclear power. There's some people worried about running out of oil. I'm worried about finding too much of it and burning it, because it's causing epidemics of asthma among the kids in Los Angeles and every other city. The fine particles go past your nose, your nasal passages, into your bloodstream and cause premature death. We've become complacent because it's been going on so long. But you ask mothers in Los Angeles how many of their kids have asthma, and you'll find out the health bill is real high from all of that. And then coal is so rich in carbon that when you burn it, you're causing the main cause of the greenhouse gases and global warming. Do we want to just fool around so when you're middle-aged there is no beach in LA? And Lord knows what else we're going to lose. I mean, if the ocean, there's a TV program on Sunday on National Geographic that points out a 6-degree rise in temperature will just wipe out our civilization. Now, are we going to sit by and just let that happen? I think it's people your age and people watching this program that are going to make this their number one issue, because it is a matter of life or death to them. Certainly if they expect to have life for the next 50, 60 years on this earth and live the life we know today, because it won't be here if we keep this up.
Now, some of the critics of global warming say that they don't feel that humans are the ones creating it. Are humans creating global warming? Is it not just something that's just happening because of the environment?
Well, I think the scientific evidence is overwhelming that it is the burning of fossil fuels, which is a human activity, that is causing it. But what I say is, suppose you're a doubter. There's certainly a risk if the scientists are right. Ordinarily, if we have a risk, we buy insurance. Now, you buy life insurance not because you expect you're going to die next year, but because there's a risk that you might, and you want to leave something for your kids if you're married or whatnot. So renewable energy is really just an insurance policy. just in case the scientists are right, and they most likely are. But even forget about global warming. The air pollution in Los Angeles today and in every big city is a killer. We've just become complacent because it's been going on so long. You get a story about a little bit of lead in toys around Christmas time, and everybody goes gaga. Well, they should go gaga, but they should also recognize that we're being poisoned much more maliciously every day by the burning of gasoline on the city streets and the burning coal in power plants and the nuclear power. In an age of terror, the idea that we'd build nuclear radioactive factories where we don't know what to do with the waste when we can put solar panels and solar thermal plants in the desert and make the electricity that way for not any more cost. I mean, we're in the hands of General Electric, which owns NBC, and Tim Russert on Meet the Press talks about nuclear power. He doesn't talk about the wind and the sun. The money is with the energy companies, and their TV ads are brainwashing us. If you watch the Democratic debates, what's the ad that you saw? Clean coal? They're out of their mind. There is no such thing. Coal is filthier than dirt. I used to buy 30 million tons a year of it at TVA. They chop the tops off of the mountains to strip mine it. They kill people down in the depths of the earth, and they get black lung disease in order to mine it. And then when they burn it, it's the filthiest stuff in the world. How can they call it clean? They got technologies that might make it a little less dirty, but they don't say that. So we're being propagandized, and the common sense of smart young people is not carrying the day. Hopefully it will in the future.
So then what would you say are our alternatives?
Our alternatives is to learn about this subject, and every time you see a friend talk about it, anytime you see a legislator, tell them that we have got to turn loose of the poisons, outlaw new nuclear plants, new coal-fired plants. I wish I had a chance to get on the campus of colleges. I hope people will invite me, so I don't need a big fee. I just want to fire people up for a cause that they could believe in and that will really make a difference. And the politicians are greenwashing now. They're talking a pretty good game, but they haven't stood up to the power of the money of the oil people and the coal people and the nuclear people like we need to. This has got to be considered a life or death matter, because it is.
Well, David, we are going to continue this right after these messages. We're going to come right back. Some more See You at USC after this.